We live in a world of precision, a world defined by numbers, where every quantity can be captured with unfailing accuracy. But what if that world vanished? Imagine building a pyramid, trading for grain, or charting the seas without a single, reliable unit of measurement. This was the reality for our ancestors. This is the story of how humanity first learned to measure the world, using the tools they had, their bodies, the earth, and their own ingenuity. The earliest and most natural ruler was the human body itself. In ancient Egypt, the foundational unit of length was the cubit, the distance from the elbow to the tip of the extended middle finger. This was subdivided into palms, the width of a hand and digits, the width of a finger. With these simple, body-based units, they built monuments that have stood for millennia. Yet, there was a problem. Not all arms are the same length. To solve this, the Egyptians created the royal cubit, a master measuring rod of granite, against which all other cubits were standardized. It was a remarkable step towards universal measurement. The Romans, masters of engineering, adopted and refined these ideas. Their unit was the pes, or foot, which they divided into 12 uncia. The origin of our modern inch. For greater distances, ta gebus to mil passus, 1,000 paces, which became the mile. With these units, they built their famously straight roads and massive aqueducts, connecting an empire. How do you measure something you cannot see, like weight? The ancients found the answer in balance. The Tupan balance scale, first appearing in Egypt and Mesopotamia around 2000 BC, was a revolutionary device. On one side, the goods, on the other, a counterweight. But what did they use for weights? For small, precious items like gold or medicine, they turned to nature. Seeds, the grain. Literally, a single grain of barley was a common unit. The carat, still used for gemstones today, was originally the weight of a single carob seed. These were remarkably consistent. For larger quantities, standardized weights were essential for trade and taxation. The Babylonians had the talent, which could weigh as much as 30 kilos. The Romans had the libra, or pound, which they also divided into 12 uncia ounces. These official weights, often made of stone or bronze and kept by temple authorities, were the bedrock of ancient economies. Measuring value in the space something occupies was crucial for agriculture and trade. How much grain was in the harvest? How much wine was in the cask? Early on, volume was simply defined by the container used. The Egyptians standardized this with the hecate, a unit of about 4.8 liters, used to measure grain and beer. It was their go-to for doling out wages, which were often paid in food and drink. In the Mediterranean, the Roman amphora became a standard for shipping wine and olive oil. While their sizes varied, they were consistent enough to become a reliable measure for commerce across the sea. The Romans also had smaller units for daily life, like the sextarius for liquids, roughly equivalent to a pint. They understood the crucial difference between measuring dry goods, like flour, which could be heaped, and liquids, which could not, a distinction we still use today. For all their ingenuity, ancient measurement systems had a fundamental weakness. They were local. A foot in Greece was not the same as a foot in Rome. A pound in one kingdom was different in the next. This created confusion and opportunity for fraud. As trade and science grew, the need for a single, universal system became undeniable. It would take centuries, culminating in the French Revolution and the birth of the metric systema, system based not on king's feet or seeds, but on the earth itself. It was the final step in a journey that began with the human hand. The cubit, the libra, the hecate, they were more than just tools. They were an expression of our ancestors' desire to impose order on a chaotic world. They allowed for the creation of wonders, the growth of economies, and the dawn of scientific thought. The next time you use a measuring tape or a kitchen scale, remember the long, winding path of history it took to get there, a journey from the human body to the universal constant. It is, and always has been, the measure of mankind.